Hare Krishna. To understand better what Dharma is and what your Dharma is, I like to present Dharma in 7 separate categories. And you'll see how easy it is to live out your Dharma throughout your day, throughout your life. The first category of Dharma is vocation. It's your nature. What is your calling in this life? Are you an athlete or physical type? Are you an artist? Are you an administrator? Are you an intellectual? What's your nature? What's your calling? And you should very carefully find out your nature. I say that this is the most difficult Dharma to find, your vocation, your calling. But here are some tips to help you find your calling. First, ignore external material factors. Ignore money, status, what your parents want you to do, what society tells you is better. Forget all that when it comes to being yourself. You have to ignore these external influences. It's about who you are, not what's going to make you more money, not what daddy thinks is a good thing for you to do, but about who you are. So be true to yourself and have the courage to follow your nature. Even if it's something that you can't see, how am I going to make money with this thing? I can't be an artist, can't make money with that. I have to get a job, I have to get a proper, normal job. Don't think like that. Trust your nature. Trust that you have a mission here. You have your place in society. And that place is about who you are, about your nature. So that's vocation. Another tip for vocation given by my spiritual master is don't think about what you like to do, because you may like to do a lot of things like most people. But think about that thing which you cannot help but do. Because there's this one thing, there's a few that you just can't help doing. So think about that, and that's your true nature. So that's vocation. The second Dharma is what I call the natural Dharma. Natural Dharma is the things to do with your own upkeep, your own well-being. So Krishna, in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says that a yogi has to balance out the needs for sleeping, eating, and recreation. So those I call your natural dharmas, just to take care of yourself, sleep well, eat well, and have fun within the right balance. It's all about balance, not too much, not too little. Krishna says not too much, not too little. But what's too much for me and what's too much for you are different. What's too much for me now is different from what's too much for me, say, 20 years ago. It might be different from what's too much for me 20 years from now. So it's about balance, not eating too much, not eating too little, not sleeping too much, not sleeping too little. Depends on who you are, what you're going through, and it may vary. But taking care of yourself is your dharma. So it's part of your dharmic day to take care of yourself well, to sleep well, for example. That's why I emphasize sleep in my book, 3T Path. I talk about the importance of sleep, and there's lots of research showing that as well. You really have to take sleep seriously. It's actually very important for your well-being, physical and mental, and your performance levels and everything. It's very important to take sleep seriously. It's a real dharma, it's a real duty you have with your own self. Of course, eating. People are just killing themselves with what they're eating. Eating is like the source of misery for so many millions of people. People are killing themselves with what they're eating. Eating is a serious duty. It's a serious dharma. You have to seriously consider what you're putting in your mouth. It's your duty not to eat too much, not too little, and to eat well. To eat in peace. To give time to eat. Sit down and enjoy your meal. Focus on it, because it's a real duty. It's not like some distraction from something else you should be doing. So eating is seriously, and having fun. You should have fun. You should have, your slot of the day reserved for entertainment. You should take vacations. Enjoy yourself. Again, not too much, not too little, not giving up on other duties, but just the right amount. So that's your natural dharma. The third is your occupational dharma. So whether or not you got number one right, whether or not you found your vocation, usually you have some sort of job or you're studying. So whatever job you've taken on, whatever course you've enrolled in, that becomes your duty. You've accepted responsibility, so you should do that with not as an imposition. Don't consider that something that, oh God, I have to do that now. But it's who you are. You've accepted that, so do it really well. Do your job really well, because it's your Dharma. It's the expression of who you are. It's not an imposition, and you shouldn't do it thinking of some future reward, i.e. the salary or the diploma. But bring your mind to the here and now and just do your job really well, because that's who you are now. That's the expression of yourself at this moment. So you have your occupational Dharma, which usually takes up the biggest slot of our time, of our day. So you want to make sure that's like the right thing. That's why it's important to get number one right, because that's the biggest expression of your life, of what you're doing. It takes up the most of your day. So if you're in the wrong job, there's no way you're going to be happy. There's no way to have a happy life if you're not following your vocation, because you're just going to be off doing the most important slot of your day, the biggest slot of your day. You're going to be off. You're not going to be doing your thing. You're going to be doing somebody else's thing, which is not going to satisfy you. So occupational Dharma is number 3. Number 4 is personal Dharma. Personal Dharma is all those relationships you have. They create a duty. You have a sister, you have a brother, so you have some duties with that sister and brother, that sibling. You have a father and a mother, so you have some duties with your parents. You have a spouse, you have some duties with your spouse. You have children, you have a huge responsibility with your children. Friends, co-workers, pets. Every single connection you've established in this world creates some sort of duty. Maybe it's just, once in a while say hello, or, see on Facebook whose birthday it is and say happy birthday. Or maybe it's some intense several hours a day sort of duty as you have as a parent. It depends what your relationship is, but there are duties that are born out of that relationship, and you have to take that seriously. And of course, one of the biggest problems today is that we sacrifice personal Dharma in the name of occupational Dharma. And you've seen this, and maybe you've experienced this yourself. You work too much. And you work too much sacrificing the time and energy you could spend with your loved ones. This is a very serious problem. It will lead to suffering. It will lead to problems in the future. Whenever you don't follow a Dharma, it leads to problems, because it's your essence. So if you're not being yourself correctly, you're going to suffer. You're going to feel some emptiness. You're going to feel some suffering. So, and this personal Dharma is one that's the most affected these days with our modern rushing about life. We want to make as much money as possible. We want as much status as possible. And this desire for external things makes us want to sacrifice the personal Dharma, which is all about the internal. It's all about love. It's all about connection, and doesn't give you so many external things. We sacrifice personal Dharma for the occupational Dharma. We work too much, and we give up time and energy for our loved ones. So you have to be very careful with that. So that's number 4, personal Dharma. 5th is community Dharma. We're all part of a community. We live in a town, a city, a state, a country. So automatically that generates some responsibility. At the very least, you have to obey the laws and pay your taxes. If you can do more, participate more, be an active member of the community. Participate in making that community a better place. Ideas, volunteer work. Somehow make that place better, because we're all part of it. We're all responsible. We can't all think it's somebody else's problem to make my community better, right? Somebody has to do something. So being part of that community somehow, again, at the very least, is pay your taxes and obey the laws. But if you can't, do more. So community Dharma. And then 6 is your universal Dharma. What's a universal Dharma? That's more about in general, As an earthling, what are your responsibilities? As a human being, just worrying about suffering in some distant country, because there's some other human beings suffering in some distant country, so you should worry about that. It's worrying about the ecology, about the planet. It's taking attitudes, it's your duties when there's an emergency. When you come and there's an accident, then that universal Dharma requires you to act out, to do your part to help those people who are suffering in an accident, for example. So universal Dharma is those things you have to do on a larger scale. Thinking big. That's universal Dharma. And number 7 is your spiritual Dharma. It's called Sanatana Dharma in Sanskrit. So you are actually a soul. You're actually a transcendental being. So there's spiritual duties required for you to maximize or at least uncover and start developing your spiritual side. So you have duties such as meditating, studying, and searching out God and understanding your relationship with God and everything. Those are your spiritual duties, your spiritual Dharma. So 7 categories of Dharma, and you can see that throughout your day, one or the other will take precedence. And you have to seek out at every moment of your day, what is your Dharma? And focus your mind on doing that Dharma and doing it well. And if you do that, your life will be wonderful. You'll feel great satisfaction from just realizing your duty. It's the famous, the satisfaction of a duty well done. You have that, it's a deep, natural satisfaction in just being yourself and doing what's required of you. And that alone satisfies you much more than the result of the activity of doing what should be done. This is one of the key secrets of well-being. Don't focus on the result of your activity, but on just doing your Dharma. Again, don't ask what the world can do for you, but what can you do for the world? With that mentality, you'll feel satisfied and you'll take control of your life experience. So those are the 7 categories of Dharma for you to meditate on and to think about how you can apply that to your life throughout your day, every day. Hare Krishna.